Dreams, they're good for your heart. Dreams, they make you fart. The more you fart, the better you feel. So have dreams. And enjoy the feel.
I was about to say, is there an end to this narrative? Yes, so this is the dreams topic of the Mindless show. Citation probably required because we're most likely going to discuss nightmares as well. It's, one of them, the other, they're hand in hand. I am your host, Mr. Mindless, and this is Lightning Fingers and Snoopy and Rexy, because they're having their own dreams. So firstly, I'd just like to mention Snoopy, when he sleeps, this is a true story, he barks in his sleep, but it's always a muffled bark because he always has his mouth closed.
Yeah.
And usually it sounds like, it's like one of those things of when like you're a kid and you're being bullied in a dream and it sounds like you go like, oh no, like how they try and represent it in film of you're shouting out loud like you wouldn't wake your fucking self up. Anyway, and so Snoopy does that and he doesn't wake himself up, so of course I go over to him and wake him up and whatever to snap him out of it. And one thing the other day was that Indigo, the one who barks a lot, Snoopy was actually howling in his sleep, so this time it was different for one thing. And so she goes over to him and just taps him on the face with her paw, and he gets up and he's just like as if he had no idea what the hell just happened, and she just walks back over and goes to sleep. I'm just like, she's done my job for me now. I can go back to doing whatever I was doing on the computer.
That's actually pretty iconic.
Yeah, it was very weird, but it was very nice as well.
What a nice thing to do, wake someone up from a bad dream.
Yeah, just easily get a frying pan or a bucket of water.
A frying pan, a hot frying pan, just... What a way to wake up. That's my alarm clock from now on.
God. I was actually thinking, because I got a new bed recently, that I'd be just grab a string, tie it around a cup of water, and when I try to wake myself up in the morning, just pull the string and just have the cup of water fall on my head.
It'll be
more or less the water would fall onto the doona and the glass would smash on my head. So that would be the real wake-up call, including going to a hospital for possible stitches.
Worth it, dude. Worth it every morning.
Easily, definitely.
Just like over the course of a couple of weeks of doing that, you just get like a massive scar on the top of your head from...
Oh, that would not be fun.
Smashing glasses on your skull. That's the dream, man. That's the dream.
That's the dream. So, what do you think of when we say dreams?
Well, let's get some science in here. Dreams, actually, what's happening in your brain is your pineal gland in the center, right in the middle of your head, right in the middle of your brain. It's tiny little bean-sized thingy, releases this hormone, whatever you want to call it, I don't even know what it is, but it's basically like DMT, and that's what makes you dream, and you releases a really tiny amount, and you're basically just like, I don't know, in a state of awakeness where you're not quite asleep and you're not quite awake, so it's between like the light sleep and the deep sleep cycle, it's somewhere in there.
So somewhat lucid maybe?
Not necessarily lucid. Lucid just means you're aware that you're dreaming.
Okay.
So when it's a stage of sleep called REM sleep, and that's when you see someone's eyes like twitching around when they're asleep. Have you ever seen that?
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, so if you look at somebody whose eyes are like kind of rolling around behind their eyelids when they're asleep, that means they're probably dreaming. And it's because like your brain releases a chemical when you're falling asleep that puts your whole body to sleep. But the only part of your body that doesn't the only muscles in your body that doesn't go to sleep are like your intestines and all that. And also your eyes. So your eyes still roll about, but your eyelids are closed. It's a really weird phenomena.
Have you ever had the classic dream of you wake up naked at a school or some important event?
Yeah, I've had that not as a dream as well. Which is an odd experience.
It probably would be.
Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing.
I think I had it, because I've had one of those things where you can... I've heard people argue that you can't live multiple dreams. Like, you can't, have the same dream multiple different times.
That's not true.
You could quite easily, I could easily argue that, like, you can easily have the same dream in one night, like, you could wake up multiple times between it and go back to sleep and still be in that kind of stream.
That's definitely true.
And in, like, over a couple of days, you might still have the same kind of dream. But I find it weirder when you have a dream, a couple of years later, you have the same dream or the dream continues.
Yeah.
That's the really weird shit.
Because everything in your dreams, it's not actually stored in your memories properly unless it's like for some reason or other solidified.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of floating around there somewhere in your brain and your thoughts where you're not really cognizant or conscious of it or like, you know, not thinking about it. And then so just per chance it might come up or some event might trigger that same dream to happen again that night. And while your brain's sort of mulling over whatever happened during the day, it might think of that event and then be like, oh, let's dream about it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of moments where I wake up from a dream and like, even if I forget it or whatever, like sometime in the future I might have some kind of deja vu and be like, this is from a dream I had.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because it makes you think like, oh, does that mean that foresight really exists? It's possible, or it could just be something that's something so familiar that you may have just happened to have it in a dream as well, because it's something that you're used to. So say like a certain event happens at school or at work, or you're at a shopping centre or something, and you're so used to being at that place that you get this deja vu after having this dream because it's just a familiar place. Your brain made it into the place that you dreamt that you were in.
Yeah, I think that's part of deja vu is that like you've seen it in a dream,
yeah,
and you're not like conscious of it, and it's just somewhere in the back of your head and you go like, I've seen that. Or deja vu is just like a false sense of familiarity.
Yeah.
So it's somewhere in between there.
What's the weirdest dream you've ever had?
I have had some weird dreams. I don't actually remember a lot of my dreams.
I do. It's disturbing.
Like there was a long time where I was like trying to become lucid in dreams, and it was really hard for me because I would never know whether I was lucid or not because I wouldn't remember the dream. So you know, maybe I'm lucid every single night, but I don't remember them when I wake up. So the dreams that I have that I remember are really iconic dreams. And I remember I had this one where I was in like an unfamiliar house and all of these people were just like shouting at me. I couldn't understand why. And then I just realised, like it clicked, like in that moment I was like, I'm dreaming. And so all these people are shouting at me and at the same time I'm just melting through the floor, like falling through the floor. It was really...
I've had many a lucid dream before, and sometimes it's just like the kind of fun where like, 'cause I can always tell if I'm dreaming because I wear glasses all the time, and so if I don't see this frame around me in a dream, I know it's a dream, and that always happens. Yeah. Even like sometimes I know it's a dream, but like I still can't control it.
Yeah.
Even though I know that it's a dream, that's like as much as a weird thing as it is. But I did have one dream one time, which is, for some reason, I think my brain just wants me to talk about it because I won't stop thinking about it. So this is a classic one during primary school when I had a lot more friends.
Wow.
I don't even know if that's actually true or false or not. So I was at, for some reason, it's like on this island, and I think it may have been because it was back in the day when I watched a lot of Avatar Lost Airbender. And so one of those episodes, they have an island where there's, it's actually a volcano island, where there's a tower on it. In this case, the tower is to do with, on the show, it's to do with the Avatar and whatever in the Fire Nation. But in my dream, it was just a lighthouse. And so the lighthouse itself is just a long spiral staircase. And I remember it's as if like it's a journey with me and my friends, so we're just going into this lighthouse and walking up the stairs, and all of a sudden, as you do in dreams, you're just suddenly naked for no reason. Not anyone else, just yourself. So it's just like you're just covering yourself up, trying to like huddle into a ball as much as possible, while everyone is staring at you and if either not laughing at you or just pointing at you, and that's one that sticks out to my memory. So one of my many
the
naked
naked
dreams.
journey up the lighthouse.
The naked journey up the lighthouse. I don't even think any of these dreams have anything metaphorical to them, like or
Not
symbolic.
necessarily. They don't need to have a meaning.
Yeah,
They could just be like maybe you not personifying, but you just like expressing discomfort.
Yeah.
Maybe sometime during the day you said something embarrassing and you're like, oh, that was silly. And then in your dream you dream about yourself being naked in front of a crowd and just like, that's a bit more embarrassing than saying something silly.
Yeah. Well, I've had many dreams where it's, I see old friends or family members and I wake up from this dream and I just want to see these people, but then I realise I probably dreamed about them because I don't talk to them anymore, I don't see them anymore. Well, not really family members, but mostly friends. Like, you ever had that where you've had a dream of people and that you just want to see that person again or talk to them?
I don't know, I don't remember.
Do you have...
That
probably doesn't help.
Probably.
What about a thing where... No, I can't remember what I was going to say. I guess we can talk about nightmares. There's a lot to talk about with dreams, and nightmares are definitely there.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. What you were talking about, the staircase.
Yes, that's probably more of a nightmare. Yes. Do you remember nightmares at all?
I do remember some nightmares. A lot of the nightmares I have are like I'm being chased by. Like whenever I go on public transport, I take public transport a lot. I'm often like conscious about, dodgy people, or I don't know. I mean, I'm not like frightened of it or anything, but I'm always just conscious of it. And so I've had like dreams where, a dodgy guy on the station. I remember like one particular dream where there's like this dodgy guy on the station who's like, "Oh man, can I borrow some cash?" And I was like, "No." And then he just starts chasing me with a knife, obviously, and you can't run properly, like. You're sprinting as fast as you can, but you're kind of just like walking through quicksand or something. Yeah. And those are
We're talking about nightmares.
When am I on?
Not yet.
What time?
You're not at around 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Around then.
Okay, I'll play Overwatch then.
Go for it. And now she's barking. That's a random dream to have, or nightmare to have, where a guy's just chasing you.
Yeah. Those chasing dreams are like. I feel like they symbolise more like not being in control because like you're being chased but you can't run.
I think I have two types of nightmares, and one of them you can probably still consider just a normal dream where it's always to do with something to do with loss. So either I randomly lose someone. I remember even one time when I was a kid I woke up after having a dream where I was literally just on a street nearby that I'm quite familiar with. And I was with mum as if we were walking around shopping or walking home from school, and all of a sudden she disappears, and I just get really sad because she's just gone.
Yeah.
I remember waking up that next morning just feeling really distraught and being like, and I was a kid at this time, so I was very young. And I just remember waking up and just after having a dream where my mum just disappears, and I was like, that's just bad. I was the only one there. I didn't know what to do.
And that's frightening, like.
Yeah,
it's that feeling in your chest where you're just like, really uncomfortable.
As well as when you wake up, you have to determine if it's real or not.
Yeah.
And I have many dreams like
and
that where it's
so,
about loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always like I'm hanging out with a friend who I haven't seen forever, or I'm hanging out with a friend and they disappear or something, and I'm just like, I really wish I could just see them again, whether it be in a dream or in person. Because I have a lot of friends like that who I don't see, that I wish I could see more in person, and unfortunately I can't. It just doesn't happen.
Fun time.
Yeah, but the most frequent nightmare of mine.
Naked.
No, actually, I barely have many naked dreams, which is good. And we won't talk about sex dreams here.
Those cards are off the table.
They happen, and they're not as fun as you would think. Like, it's not always I want to have sex in this dream or whatever, and you're with these people, but then all of a sudden you just aren't able to do anything. It just gets kind of annoying.
You literally just said we're not going to talk about sex dreams.
I know.
Continues on the topic.
So my worst nightmare is one I have quite frequently. I've had this for over a decade now, and simply put, it's where I shove a toilet roll down her fucking throat because she won't shut the fuck up.
Wow, that's a real nightmare.
Why would she shut up? She shuts up once I start moving. Fucking bitch.
Oh.
It's like a trigger. It's like she knows I'm here. Where the hell even is she? I can't even see. I don't know where she is. She's somewhere out there. I apologise. Ugh. My worst nightmare is to do with the Xenomorph from the Alien franchise.
Is that the one with...
Yeah, the chest bursters, yes. I used to be horrified. Oh, that's it. Shit as a kid. I'm still somewhat scared of them, but more amazed by them now because I've done so much research into the Xenomorph and the Alien franchise and all that kind of stuff, and rewatched the films countless times so I can just like get used to it. But there have been many a dream where like the like this Eva Alien X. I've never had one of those dreams where there's actually been a face hugger and a chest burster to do with me. Like I've never had a dream like that, which is the really weird thing because that's what actually scares me the most.
Yeah, about it being in you.
But I think and I think that's like the idea. I think in the dream it's either the same dream or it's different dreams. Like being chased by a xenomorph, and there's always a hive, so there's always an egg or multiple eggs there. I just know that they're gonna open up and I'm gonna be fucked over completely. And I don't know that it's a dream. I can never. There's always something about it that just never allows me to know that it's a dream.
Yeah, it never like clicks.
Yeah, and that's always the weird thing. Like with other dreams, I can tell if it's a dream or not. But sometimes but when it comes to these ones, I can't. And so I remember one dream in particular. I seem to be in this kind of hallway. It's quite a wide hallway, probably about maybe 10 meters long. But like all I can remember is just being in this hallway and running, and knowing that there were like xenomorphs nearby, and there were all these eggs, and they're all opening and shit. And there's this one door, and I open up, and all of a sudden I'm in my home, and I close the door, and I'm safe. And it's just weird. So I'm like, I don't remember there being a hive attached to my bedroom or something. Like, I don't know. It's just weird.
It's an odd.
Because dreams are fucking abstract as shit, which is pretty great. I mean,
I think it's interesting how your brain comes up with that shit. Like,
yeah.
Where does it even come from?
I think, quite easily, anyone can say, maybe you should stop watching TV for a while. I'm like, no, fuck you.
Yeah, it's not...
I
think our brains come up with that weird shit regardless.
Yeah, because even like, I don't think I've ever had the problem of, I watch a horror movie and I can't, and like in my dreams, I have a nightmare to do with it. That's never really been the case except for really the Alien films.
Yeah.
But I always remember like when you're watching a horror film and you get so scared of it that you can't fall asleep because of it. That's usually the most common symptom.
Yeah.
But like I remember we watched the Paranormal Activity films when they first came out, and they were quite horrifying for us.
Yeah.
And I remember one time at night, even Sam woke up in a Eddie started screaming and shit because he had a nightmare to do with it. He thought the fucking bed had shook, which was quite funny at the time because this is before we had Snoop, and so Dad always makes a joke about it, saying that when he go into the room, Indigo was Sam was like so loud and screaming that Indigo had been thrown to the wall and was just like stuck to it, just like in this like position. Of course, that's nowhere near true. More realistic than Sam's dream, I'll give you that. But yeah, it's just interesting the effect of horror films. Do you ever have that?
I did with one film. I can't really remember, like, with Doctor Who, like, I never used to watch it, and then I watched, like, one episode with, I can't even remember what it was, but there was one episode that just, like, freaked me the fuck out.
Do you know what was in it?
I don't know.
The creatures or anything?
No, I don't remember, because I don't watch it often.
Do you know, can you really describe any of the creatures? I know, I've seen every episode since the reboot. And quite a lot of classic Who as well.
I think it was the... No, I honestly just can't remember.
You don't know I've been scared by...
What was the... What?
I've been scared by multiple creatures from that show.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty fantastical and
Really?
interesting.
Most things Stephen Moffat writes fall off it, which is odd. From the original David Tennant and Eccleston run. That being The Empty Child, which was the kid with a gas mask on his face.
Oh yeah, I think that was the creature.
Yeah, that one scared the fucking shit out of me. I only watched the episode, like, because that was a two-parter as it was. I watched it the first time, didn't watch it again for another 5 years, and I went back to it because I just rewatched. I rewatched all the Eccleston series. I'm just like, this is actually a really fucking good episode, and I hate that I got so scared of it.
Yeah, that was the one I remember.
And then there's of course the famous Blink episode with
with
the Weeping Angels.
Yeah.
That was scary as shit.
I never watched it because I didn't want to watch Doctor Who after. I watched that. And the other film that really scared me, for some reason or other, was I Am Legend.
Okay.
You know, with those weird creatures, I just think it was so like, I don't know, it felt so real in that that's not even that impossible, that like some super bug spreads and like kind of fucks people up a little bit. And they're not like zombies, because the only reason that zombies have any power is because they hoard.
Yeah.
And like they just kind of overpower you by number.
Yeah.
Whereas these things are like stronger, faster, fitter
Yeah.
than any normal human, and that kind of freaked me out. Just because they're creepy and freaky, but also like strong and quick and smart. So yeah, that really kind of freaked me out. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything could. I've probably been. I've been scared by many a thing from film. I had a friend back in primary school who didn't watch any of the Harry Potter films past the fourth one because they were horrified of Voldemort.
Yeah, I mean,
Just in like his physical form at the end of the fourth one, they just were so scared of it that they couldn't watch any of the films. But they're great. You should watch them.
Yeah.
Even though the third and fourth one are the best of the series. But yeah, that was the wrong timer. Alright, we've got a couple minutes left.
Nightmares was a long topic.
Yeah, well, I mean, dreams and nightmares. Is there anything you can add?
I mean, not really.
Because
Dreams are all...
dreams are fucking weird. How do you even do lucid dreaming?
How do you do it?
Because I know that one of the
There's a lot
reasons
of
that you
ways
can
to do it.
tell that you're in a dream is you either can't read something that's been written,
Yeah.
or you read it once and then you read it again, and the second time it's worded differently, or there's something wrong about it.
There's a whole lot of different ways. One of the ways is you can put your finger through your hand sometimes. Not always. I've tried that. That works. It's really weird. Or if you look at your hands, I remember I became lucid one time because I looked at my hands and there was like bubbles and blisters on the back of my hand, but they didn't hurt or anything. And one of my hands was like claws, which was really weird. So you look at your hands, put your finger through your hands. If you block your nose and then try and breathe through your nose, like you go...
But in a dream.
In a dream, you can breathe through your nose as if it's not blocked. And I've tried that. It's an odd feeling. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but that's one of the ways you can tell if you're lucid dreaming.
Because I know there are many rules. You can like read something like a line of text over and over again for a day, or like do like a similar type of behavior every day that your brain will just comprehend as normal. So then when you're in a dream, if it doesn't happen, you just know that you're in a dream. There's so many really
There's a lot
extensive ways to lucid dream. It's an interesting...
So there's two ways to like induce it. There's one way called WOW. I think it's called WOW. No, I don't know. Wake induced wild. That's what it's called. Wake induced lucid dreaming, which is where you are awake and you lie on your bed completely still. You don't move a muscle, and you know when I was talking about how your brain puts your body to sleep. So your brain sends out this chemical, puts your body to sleep, but your brain's still awake. And so you basically just go from a waking state into a dreaming state in one fluid movement, and you start hallucinating as you're going off to sleep, which is really weird. So you get like closed eye visuals. And then the other way to do it is you can wake up, and it's called wake back to bed, where you go to sleep, you wake up at like 3 in the morning, and then you go back to sleep, and it's a lot easier because your body's already basically like ready to go to sleep again.
Yeah.
That's really weird. Or yeah, you can just like notice that you're in a dream and do that.
I often have a thing where after a dream, if I remember it, because sometimes if they have big enough impact, I can remember it straight after I've had it. I know that sometimes after a dream, I think Like sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm having breakfast or something, I just think about the dream, like something either triggers it or it's just been on my mind the whole time. I'm like thinking, what if I had done that instead of done this? Like I actually think of in the dream, what if I had done something differently?
Yeah.
Kind of like the idea of like, if like you think of the day before, what if you had done this instead of done this?
Yeah.
But in this case it's a dream, so in the dream, it literally, it's not relevant. It doesn't, you don't need to have this conversation with yourself.
Yeah. I think one thing that's really important for dreaming is you keep a dream journal.
Yeah, yes, I know. I've heard of the dream journal. I've
And
not done it myself because I can't. All the dreams would be fucking weird to write down. And
no, you just write down little points, and you start building up a list of things that like recur in your dreams. So what you can do is, like for me, police cars always appear in my dreams, and so whenever I see a police car, you do a check. You like hold your nose or put your finger through your hand, and if you can't do it, you're not dreaming, you're awake, obviously. And if you see that in your dream, do it, you realise you're dreaming. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've got one. I had one dream to top this thing off. Quite recently this year, actually, because of course we're in university now. And I had tonsillitis at the start of this year, and that was it was already pretty shitty. And so I had a dream where I went back to school as if kind of like nothing happened. Like I got off the bus, walked all the way out of school. There's something a little different about it. Like there was a different feel about the school, and the first place I went to was much closer than it actually is in reality. And so I get in there and I see my old friends and everything, and I just wonder why none of them asked why I was away or anything. I just like noticed them like, oh, I'm feeling much better now because I think I'd actually just gone over my tonsillitis, and I woke up next day and I just realised I'm like thinking something really off about that dream. I realised, oh yeah, I don't go to high school anymore.
Yeah. And it's as if it's just totally normal.
Yeah, it's just like a normal day of school, as if it's in the current day, when actually in 2017 I'm just like, this is kind of just weird.
But you didn't think that at the time.
No, in the dream it was just like, no, everything's normal.
School.
I'm healthy, it's all good. Yeah.
Me.
A very weird time, definitely. Well, I think we can end this here. I would touch on sleepwalking, but I've never done it in my life. I don't know anyone who has. So
one of my friends sleepwalked out of his house, unlocked his front door, and fell asleep on the front lawn. True story, man. True story.
Alright. This has been Lightning Fingers. That has been Indigo's barking because she hates everyone, I guess. I've been your host, Mr. Mindless. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Mindless Show. I guess we'll have more to come soon. We're not done yet.
Wim Dinkles.
Adios. Oh, crikey.